The movie takes place a long time from now. As a race, humans change at their own pace, but one discovery can change everything. A huge fireball that looks like the sun is speeding toward the Earth. As time goes on, the Earth will soon have to deal with the effects of having two suns, heat, radiation, and gravitational pulls that are not normal kill billions of things and put human life in danger. It will take the second sun about 200 years to slowly move away from the solar system. But by that time, people will have died out, so that the worst-case scenario doesn't happen. A group of survivors build an underground city called Ember that can take care of itself. It is expected that its resources and food supply will last for 200 years. After that, people will be able to go back to the surface, but they can only do that if they follow a very specific path that can only be found on a map. The path is kept secret so that curious people don't check it out before it's time. The map and instructions, on the other hand, are kept in a locker with a timer set to 200 years. The box belongs to the first mayor of Ember, and it is passed from mayor to mayor over time. Everything goes as planned until the current mayor dies one day and the safe is forgotten. So, 200 years go by, and the box opens on its own, but no one pays attention to what's inside, so it stays in a closet unused. The only power source for the city of Ember is a single generator that is about to break. Also, the canned food stored in the treasury is running out at a frighteningly fast rate. Then we learn about how people live and work in the city. After high school, each young person gets a job based on a random draw. Some get to be the mailman, others get to work with food, and the luckiest ones get to run the generator. In the same way, there is an ambitious young man named Doon in the class after that one. Following in the footsteps of his famous mechanic father, he has always been interested in machines. Doon really wants to be put in charge of fixing the generator, but he ends up being the city's mailman instead. He is best friends with a girl named Lina who is in charge of taking care of the city's pipes. Since it was her childhood dream to be a mailman, Doon lets her switch jobs with him behind his back, so he can be close to the generator because the city pipelines are laid in the same area. Lina gets very excited when she tells her grandmother about her job at night. The old woman has dementia and has forgotten most of what she knows about the secret passageway. Lina's late father also had an idea about the way out, and his last voice message, which they listened to in his memory, shows that he was right. In the voice message, he said very little about the outside world, so the girls thought it was gibberish. At one point, the name Barrow comes up, but no one with that name lives in the city, so the girls didn't think anything of it. Lina's first day at work is the day after that. She happily hands out letters until she hears a loud noise. A homeless man is being arrested for spreading false rumors because he says he saw giant insects in a part of the city where no one is allowed to go. No one believes him, but Lina finds a piece of the man's body that looks a lot like a giant beetle's horn. Doon also says that on the first day of his new job, he sees rusty pipes and broken spare parts right away. His boss, Sol, is a cranky old man who has worked in this field his whole life. He knows everything there is to know about the pipes in the city and is well aware that it could flood. Sol doesn't want Doon to use his brain because the people who work for the city have tried everything and given up on finding a permanent solution. Before Doon goes to work, he is given the helmet of a worker who has died. He remembers what the mentor said, but he is determined to find a solution because he doesn't want his people to die in a flood. Later that day, he takes Sol's map of the pipeline and starts to look around in the tunnels. He finds a room called 351 in the end. It makes him curious because the room isn't on the map and is locked. Doon decides to ignore it for now and keep looking until he finds another dark, mysterious tunnel. No one knows where it goes, and it's too dangerous to find out. Doon keeps walking and ends up in the city's almost empty food storage unit. Looper, the food guard, catches him while he is looking around. Everyone in the city doesn't like him because he was accused of stealing food cans, but wasn't found guilty. Then all of a sudden, the generator stops working, and the whole city goes dark. The engineers do their best to fix it for now, but everyone knows that it won't last. When Lina gets home from work that night, her grandmother is very upset and telling her about a box in the closet. It turns out that her great-grandfather was the mayor, but he died without passing on the safe. She finally looks in the closet and finds the safe that has been there for years. She doesn't know what to do with it, though. The next day, Lina meets the famous guard of the food storage unit, Looper, at work. He gives her a letter to give to the mayor who is in charge right now. Lina sees a drawer full of cans at the mayor's house, and the mayor tries to hide it. Her eyes also land on a picture of her great-grandfather, who is holding the box she found in the closet. At the same time, people are starting to feel the first effects of a lack of food and medicine. They are getting ready for the big blackout that is sure to happen. Lina shows Doon the beetle horn she found yesterday, and Doon checks the books to make sure it is real. Doon's dad knows a lot about these kinds of things, but he doesn't know how a beetle can be so big. He also doesn't want his son to be interested in things outside the city. Lina shows Doon what's in the safe after the failed meeting with his father. It has a piece of torn paper, a shiny glass plate, and some strange markings. When they put the torn page back together, they find that it tells them how to get out of the city. It tells them to look for the passage through the locked door 351. The two people sneak into the tunnels to find out more but are caught by a man with a limp. As soon as he sees them, he runs away and drops a lot of food cans on the way. Doon is surprised because the food in the cans is something that the city hasn't had for a long time. Before they can find out more, they are attacked by a huge star-nosed mole and have to run through the tunnels to get away. When things calm down a bit, Lina sees that her father's name is written on Doon's helmet. This means that he was the worker who died while wearing it. Doon says that he drowned in the pipelines where he was working. Later, Lina goes home and asks her Aunt Lane what happened to Lina's dad. Lane says that her father was obsessed with leaving the city and had found the quickest way out, but he died when he was on the last part of the mission. Lina can't believe how sad her dad's death was. She is thinking about something else when she sees Looper walking down the street with a limp. It makes her think of the person in the tunnels, so she runs to tell Doon right away. When they finally open the door to room 351, they find that the mayor has put food supplies there for himself. It is more than enough for him to live on for the rest of his life while his people die of hunger. The two don't wake the mayor up, so they go back to Lina's house. They listen to her father's recording again, and this time Doon knows that Barrow was talking about his father in the message. He runs to the old man and asks him about Lina's father and the tunnels. It turns out that Barrow and Lina's father worked together to try to find a way out. They were never successful, and some of Barrow's closest friends died because they were so obsessed with finding a way out. He didn't want his son to follow the same path, so he didn't want to tell Doon about the mission. Doon knows that his father is worried, but he is determined to finish the job they started. He also has a map and a box to help him, which he didn't have before. Lina tries to tell on the mayor, but she gets caught. The lights go out at just the right time, giving her a chance to steal the mayor's badge and run away. She and Doon are on the list of criminals who need to be caught, but they have nowhere to go. In this case, they use a special car to get to the generator room quickly. Then, they use the stolen mayor badge and the glass they found in the box to make a key with the symbol of the generator on it. They think it's a room key, but they're wrong. Lina looks at the directions and sees that they have to look behind the locker for something. When they check, they find that behind one of the lockers is a secret room with several more empty lockers. No one knows what these are for, but the next instruction tells them to turn a wheel in a clockwise direction. Once they do this, the lockers will line up and slide into the room where the generators are. When the door to the room finally opens, they see a river underground that leads to a huge piece of machinery. The locker wasn't made to hold things. Instead, it was made to take people to the surface. But for it to work, they still have to raise the water level above a huge wheel that is blocking the river. The next set of directions tells them to go into the emergency control room. The badge is finally used as the key, and they go into a room with levers and buttons that let them control everything. As the instructions say, they turn the wheel, which makes the water level slowly rise. But the plan goes wrong when the sudden rise in pressure makes the city's lights shine brighter and eventually breaks them. When the pipelines break and water could flood the city, the people are even more scared. The mayor thinks this is the end of the world, so he goes to his watertight room to save his life. But he gets what's coming to him when a giant mole attacks him and kills him before anyone else. The wheel stops working all of a sudden, and Saul, who works on the pipeline, comes to save the day. He fixes the wheel, but to keep it going, he has to keep holding a lever, even though it is a very dangerous job. He knows that it is the only way to save people's lives. As soon as the wheel is fixed, the water level goes up, and Doon has to leave Saul and look for a way out. After that, Doon, Lina, and her little sister sit on the locker boat, and a big wave pushes them up and away from the wheel. The three of them go down a series of scary, dark tunnels, hoping to be alive when it's all over. When they slide down a steep hill, they are about to give up, but when they open their eyes again, they are on a pond. A few meters away is a bright door that leads them to the Earth's surface. The two aren't as happy as they should be because it's nighttime, and they think the outside is just as dark as the inside. But then they see their first sunrise, which makes their eyes light up with happiness. Now that the land is safe to live on again, they can finally live a happy life. The group sees a bird all of a sudden and follows it to a very deep hole. From this height, they can see a little bit of Ember City, but their voices don't reach down below. As a last resort, they tie the map and their message to a rock and throw it inside. Luckily, Doon's father gets the message, and the city as a whole is saved.